Hello guys, today in this video, we are going to help you to find out the best air impact wrenches in market. I made this list based on my personal opinion and I tried to list them based on their quality, durability, customer review and more. If you want to see their price and find out more information about them, you can check our links in the description below. Number 10. Acdelco Pneumatic Impact Wrench. The Acdelco ANI 405 Twin Hammer Air Impact Wrench claims to be heavy duty, though with only 500 foot-pounds of torque, it's a questionable claim at best. In our testing, it was underwhelming, to say the least. Heavy duty probably aren't the words that we would choose to describe this tool. It may be rugged thanks to the aluminum housing, but it's very weak, having problems with any bolts that show more than just a minimum level of rust and corrosion. At just below 6 pounds, the Acdelco isn't too heavy. It's also pretty compact overall. It features several different speed levels that are selectable by a dial, though we prefer a variable speed trigger. It's also sitting pretty low on the price spectrum, which honestly, is exactly where it should be. Overall though, it's a decent wrench that's handicapped by a lack of power. Number 9. Nyco 30128A Impact Wrench. Priced affordably for most DIYers, this air impact wrench from Nyco will allow you to do the basic work of removing and installing bolts. However, with a meager max power of 600 foot-pounds, this wrench had a tough time with bolts that were only moderately corroded. It's far from a powerhouse and failed to remove several bolts that were really rusted in place. This was the biggest downfall of this particular wrench. No matter how affordable it is, it's just not powerful enough to take out the hardest bolts. On the bright side, it's pretty lightweight, coming in around 6 pounds. Its form factor is also pretty compact, making it much easier to get into tighter spaces. Number 8. TZ Tool 1/2 Air Impact Wrench. What makes the diesel impact wrench from TZ Tool so attractive to many consumers is the included deep well impact sockets and extension bars. Buying a new impact wrench can get very expensive when you factor in the additional expense of sockets, extensions, a compressor, etc. This wrench helps take some of the headache out of the experience by including most of what you need to start using it right away. For what you get, the price is very affordable. Although this wrench seems like quite a deal for the price, it suffers in a few key areas. First, quality control is not up to par. In the package we received, one of the sockets was missing, instead being filled by a duplicate of another size. The next downfall of this wrench is that it's underpowered. With a maximum torque in reverse of 875 foot-pounds, this wrench had some problems getting the most rusted bolts loose. In our opinion, better wrenches with more power are available for a lower price, leaving money for purchasing sockets. Number 7. Ingersoll Rand 3/4 inch Impact Wrench. This air impact wrench from Ingersoll Rand is a powerful beast of a tool, with a size and weight to match. At 7.4 pounds, this behemoth isn't going to be the most comfortable, and maneuvering it into hard-to-reach areas isn't going to be much of a pleasure. That said, no bolt will stand up to the power of this wrench. With 1,350 foot-pounds of torque, this tool will make short work of even the most rusted and determined bolts. The biggest problem with this impact wrench is a lack of longevity. Thankfully, a 2-year warranty is included, because you're most likely going to need it. Ours worked fine off the bat but eventually started blowing air from the housing. After looking around, we discovered that this is a pretty common problem with this tool. At this price point, we hope to see a much longer lifespan. Despite these problems, the great power earns it a spot on this list, though not near the top. Number 6. Aircat 38 Air Impact. If you've ever had the experience of having a rusted bolt that stuck in an area where you couldn't reach it with your impact wrench, then you'll appreciate the smaller form factor of the Aircat 1076 XL 3/8 inch compact impact wrench. With the small size comes a drawback, however. Its 550 foot-pounds of torque just can't compete with the 1/2 inch drive wrenches that ranked higher on this list. At just 2.5 pounds, this is a very comfortable wrench to hold. This is especially useful when you consider those tucked-away bolts in hard-to-reach places. Combined with the comfort grip, this was one of our favorite tools to use overall. What surprised us though was how quiet this wrench was during operation. This can be a real asset in a workshop that already has a loud compressor. Overall, we think this is one of the best 3/8 air impact wrenches of this year. Number 5. Craftsman Pneumatic Impact Wrench. The Craftsman 9-16882 is a model that has some things going for it, but ultimately isn't the best model on our list. The first thing you're likely to notice about this model is its price. You can get this for even less than our best value pick on this list. That's certainly a big selling point, but as with all cheap tools, you're going to want to make sure that the quality meets your standards. It is a relatively quiet air impact wrench, which makes it good for situations where you can't make too much noise. However, it has poor power, and it's the only model on our list that will struggle with stuck or rusted bolts. Our entries tend not to struggle with this, so it's a disappointing flaw. This model also has some quality control issues, which means that you may not get a long-lasting model on your first try. Even if it doesn't break altogether, you're probably going to have to deal with jams, which make a frustrating tool to use. If you need something cheap, this is worth a look, but if you want a frustration-free experience, look elsewhere. Number 4. DeWalt 1 2-inch Air Impact Wrench. The DeWalt DWMT070773L is a very reliable, small air impact wrench. The best thing about this model is that it's small enough to operate with one hand, and DeWalt has designed the controls so that they're in easy reach of that one hand. This speeds up many operations as you can remove or place the bolts with one hand and tighten or loosen them using the other. Other air impact wrenches require you to use two hands while you tighten or loosen, which takes a little more time. This model is a good option if you have a smaller air compressor, as it operates at a lower CFM than most similar tools. You do get good, but not great torque out of this model. You do get 650 foot-pounds of force, which is okay, but it's not going to be enough for the most difficult bolts. This model also tends to attract dirt and grease, and due to its bright yellow case, it starts to look bad quickly. That might not matter to you, but it's always nice when a tool works well and looks great too. This won't be the right model for everyone, but it's a great one-handed model. Number 3. Campbell Hausfeld 1 2 Air Impact Wrench. The Campbell Hausfeld TL140200AV is our pick as best for the money. You can get it for a fraction of the price of the first two models of our list, but you can still get reliable performance out of this model. Unlike the other models, you can set the speed to low, medium, or high with a selection dial, instead of adjusting the power by how hard you squeeze the trigger. This is great in situations where you want fine control over the process. It delivers 1,200 impacts per minute, so it's almost as good as our first two entries in that category. It's also incredibly lightweight, weighing only 8 ounces, much less than the 10 pounds you could expect from some other models. If you're going to be in situations where extra weight will make the job more difficult, then this model could be the one that you need. The one downside is that it's not all that powerful, only providing 550 foot-pounds of torque. However, that's still enough for most jobs, and that means this model provides some of the best value on the market, making a great buy for anyone. All in all, this is the best air impact wrench for the money available this year. Number 2. Ingersoll Rand 1 2 Air Impact Wrench. The Ingersoll Rand 2235 QTMAX 1 2 could easily be the top entry on our list if the previous model didn't exist. This model comes with good torque at 1,300 foot-pounds and delivers 1,200 impacts per minute. Note that both values are slightly lower than the previous model, but still quite good. The Q in the model number means this is the quiet version of the popular 2235, which begs comparison to the other tool. It's quieter, only putting out 91.99 dB. That means it's not a quiet tool, but it's certainly not the loudest air impact wrench either. It does use less PSI than the previous model, 90 PSI to 150 PSI. If you have a smaller compressor or one with a lower maximum PSI, this model could be a good choice for you. However, the quiet 2235 doesn't pack the same punch as the regular 2235, and that means that if you need the best power, you're going to need to get the louder model. Overall, this is a good choice if you know that you like the 2235 already, and want a quieter variant, or if you're someone with a low-power air compressor. This is also one of the best air impact wrenches for lug nuts. Number 1. AirCat 1-2 Air Impact Wrench. The AirCat 1151 2-inch air impact wrench is a great choice for someone who needs to deal with very difficult bolts or needs to loosen a lot of bolts in quick succession without slowing down. This air impact wrench comes with 1,295 foot-pounds of force, which is enough to loosen almost any bolt. It also has 1,400 blows per minute, so it keeps steady pressure on the bolt while you work, which makes the job easier. While no air impact wrench is quiet by the traditional sense of the word, this powerful model only produces 86 decibels, which is impressive for this type of tool. It's not quiet, but it's certainly not ear-splitting. It also comes with an excellent 2-year warranty, which tells you that the manufacturer stands by their product, but also keeps you safe if something breaks prematurely. Unfortunately, this model is so powerful that it can have uncomfortable vibrations while you work. That's a worthy trade-off for most people, but it may not be something you want to deal with. Overall, this is one of the best 1-2-inch air impact wrenches on the market.